Hi, this is Mark. In this video, I'm going to talk about why abstaining from pornography is very beneficial. There's been a lot of individuals, especially now, who strive to quit, and there's for good reason. If we were to take, like, let's say we take a timeline, and suppose it's like a chronic addiction. So this is this arbitrary time. So if we start, like, let's say in the beginning, let's say this is the distance between the session, and we're going to do it in generally it's going to follow like a cyclic. Sometimes it's going to be more frequent, but in this case we're going to assume the frequencies are roughly the same. So for this case, if we take this as a distance, like a small distance x, so like let's say this is x1, this right here is x2, and then at the very end we're going to have x to nth time. So this is just a range. So basically, if we take the summation xi, so this is a summation of I equals 1 to x, or 1 to n of xi. So this essentially is just, we're just taking x1 plus x2 plus dot 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 plus xn. So we're just summing all the individual distances. And of course, this is going to be a subset of the whole range. Let's say the whole range of a range. But if the frequency is so, as this is like follows a cycle. So like if we're, so essentially like in this case it's like follows. So basically, this is just like a cycle representing of every single time this event recurs and recurs, so forth. So with pornography, it tends to, like when the addiction occurs, the summation right here becomes larger. So, but the problem with this is just not just the amount of time it wastes within a time frame, but also this sensitivity problem. So like for instance, there's something called desensitization. So this basically means that by saturating ourselves in an addictive something that is very addictive, it causes a reward to be dampened or desensitized over time. So let's say this is a degree of addiction. Actually, hold on a sec. Let's make that the x-axis. So let's say this is degree of addiction. And then this is going to be sensitivity of dopamine. I'm just using dopamine for it's not it's not just exclusive to dopamine, but it could be any of the neurotransmitter system overall. But essentially what ends up happening is the addiction increases, the sensitivity gets dampened. So it's a dampening effect. And so what that means is that like the reward that we receive in between, so basically so during these events, the reward is going to be, so in between these periods, the reward is going to be dampened, essentially, because there has to be recharge. So every time and this is proportional to the degree of addiction, because if we're doing it very frequently, extremely frequently, the sensitivity is going to get dip. And that's a problem. That poses a problem because it saps the life out of things like even um, that's why like people who are addicted with pornography don't generally depart away from relationships or even sex because it's desensitized so much that there is no feedback. It's like depression. It's like a it could be analogous to depression because it's taken away. Something that is taken away is a depression. So if this is like if we're just gonna take say we're just gonna take the intermediate events. So this is like the intermediate time, and then we have reward. So this is a time, this is like in between events. And the events are here defined by the addiction to pornography. So in between events, typically, this is a typical reward. Trajectory. So if it goes like this and then it comes down. So this is like the peak reward. It's always going to follow like some cyclic pattern, and it's not going to follow like just like this, but this is just normal. And then this is basically addictive. Addiction case. And then this is like let's just say n equals if we could quantify, let's just say addiction could be, let's say if we take 0 to 100, 100 would be like the absolute chronic maximum addiction, or let's just say 0 to 100, or we can just use 0 to 1. So let's just say this is like n equals 0.5. So we're going to quantify, and then if the addiction becomes stronger, let's say, let's make a dot. This is addictive case. Let's just say n equals 0.7. It's not going to always follow. This is individual. This is based on individual. But it's just going to get dampened because we're oversaturated in this reward. We're short-circuiting the feedback. Basically, there always has to be recharge. Our neurotransmitters recharge, and therefore, if you create chronic addiction, and it desensitizes things, and basically for a given event, like this could be like sex, for instance. Sex, the reward is going to be dampened relative to the normal case. And this is why it poses a problem, because not only that, it wastes life, it wastes time, because, or not only wasting time, but if the reward is dampened, that means it sabotages your pursuit of goals. And therefore, on a global scale, the reward is going to be dampened even more. So this shows, I'm quantifying it, but it's kind of showing the problem with the addiction, and it's hard for anyone. I mean, I think it's best to strive to become very active, exercise, read, write, be creative, do things that depart the mind from the addiction itself. That's the only way I find. It's just being busy is the best way to override this process. And yeah, that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.